Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Most of you folks are probably aware that President Trump, or former President Trump, depends on how you like your dinner served, number 45 indeed, has had a very successful few days. First, we talked about Vivek Ramaswamy dropping out maybe a week or so ago. Now we have also seen Ron DeSantis drop out of the presidential race of 2024. But in addition to Vivek Ramaswamy dropping out, Ron DeSantis dropping out, he has also received three big endorsements. Ramaswamy and Ron DeSantis are included in that pack. Tim Scott, Senator Tim Scott from South Carolina, has also endorsed President Trump. Now, what is particularly worth discussing in this is that Tim Scott was appointed by Nikki Haley. Tim Scott would not be a senator, would not have that position if it were not for Nikki Haley. So it goes without saying that Trump is receiving a hell of a lot of endorsements, whereas Nikki Haley, how many Republican politicians of any stature, of any significance, have come on record and supported Nikki Haley? Not many at all. So we're going to ask a simple question. You see the live is even titled, is Trump unstoppable politically? Now, obviously, he will eventually be running against a Democratic contender. But on the Democratic side of the aisle, no one, absolutely no one, has the momentum that President Trump currently possesses. So we're asking that question. The obvious question is Trump politically unstoppable? Clearly, there are court cases. There is litigation out there. Could that stop Trump? Perhaps, maybe, maybe not. But on a political playing field, can Trump be unstopped? Can Trump be stopped, rather? Or is it just simply time to call the race? I know this sounds ridiculous, but the polls are the polls. Fact is, there's not a lot of support for Biden, even among liberals, and the support for Trump among Republicans is through the roof. So we're asking that question. Can Trump be stopped politically? You know how the program runs. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. MAGA is the way the program is often structured. MAGA are my preferred guests. The program is, always will remain MAGA friendly. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. Looking in the comments, Democrats are losing big time. They are scared. Democrats about to burn this country down. Wow, that's a very passionate, horrible prediction. Democrats are about to burn the country down. Is that something you really fear? Wow. Now, if let's say Trump does win in November, do you believe Democrats really are going to? Wow, that is really, really powerful. Looking in the comments again, Trump will be president again unless the Democrats cheat again, says William Gabbard. You know what I'm going to follow up with, and I do appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen, 400 plus of you in here. Tap the screen, by the way, get your boy up to 10,000 likes. It does help out. The algorithm brings in more MAGA. That's how the program is ran. Trump is going to win again unless the Democrats cheat again. I have to push back and simply ask, it's 3 years. It's 3 years from the 2020 election. Where is the evidence? Where is the evidence that only Democrats cheated to the point where Trump won by a landslide? Do we ignore the fake electors on the Republican side that pled guilty and only say Democrats cheated? I mean, it's a hell of a lot of Republicans that pled guilty to doing it. So I do have to point that out. Looking in the comments, amen. We don't want no damn Nikki Haley, and I'm a woman. Yikes. And that, by the way, Nikki, is your name, are you really? Sonny Boy, thank you for the crane. Funny thing is, that comment in all caps, amen, we don't want no damn Nikki Haley, and I'm a woman, was posted by someone named Nikki. Just with C's instead of K's. Wow. Okay, fair enough. I'll go straight to the box. But one thing I want to say real quick is Well, I'll ask. By way of yes or no, how many of you folks use the social media page Rumble? It's primarily conservative, if I'm correct. But type in by way of yes or no, how many of you use Rumble? And the reason I'm asking is I had someone from their administration contact me, yours truly, and ask that I consider posting on their page. Now, generally, when you use social media, you got to be cautious of whoever the hell contacts you, particularly TikTok, run by China. I get a lot of solicitations from folks with 200 followers, 10 followers, and I'm like, how the hell are you going to do something for someone like myself? I got over 100,000. But I was able to do LinkedIn searches and everything. This person is pretty high up in Rumble. So I haven't ran on Rumble. I haven't done anything on Rumble, but they have asked that I consider doing live streams on their page. So I wanted to find out from you folks, how many of you use Rumble? Now, it's really harsh on Rumble. For you folks who like free speech, when Nikki Haley talked about Ron DeSantis and how he didn't contact her to let him know he was going to bow out, and she was looking to get an endorsement, I went on Rumble and looked up a couple articles. Republicans hate Nikki Haley. And I'm talking really hate, like what Nikki just talked about, way worse. You're not from the country. They talked about her skin color. It is very uncensored on Rumble. But let me know if you use Rumble. I would go straight to the box. And a lot of them were saying the same thing about Vivek Ramaswamy, too. You know, he is also from India. His color, his name, his background, both Nikki and Ramaswamy, there is no shortage of comments of folks suggesting they should not even be able to be commander-in-chief all over Rumble. I haven't seen that as much on YouTube or TikTok, but it's certainly on Rumble. Going back to the box, we started out with Big Country. Do appreciate you folks that are tuning in. Happy Monday. Hopefully you're Lions or 49ers fans. Big Trump, get Big Country rather. Good afternoon.
Hey, what's going on, Tim? How you doing today?
I'm going good. So far, so good. Is Trump politically unstoppable? You got a loud background, by the way.
In the situation today, I think yes. I think in a way he is. I think he could avoid doing a lot of his name calling and all that, but any other time he's behind the podium and he's speaking in the public, he just has a way of reaching out to the people and getting in touch with the people.
Yeah. Okay, hang on a second. For some reason the audience is saying they can't hear because your background is really loud. So, I mean, are you in a working environment or something?
Say that again?
Your background is really loud. People are saying they can't hear. Okay, I'm gonna have to move it on. I don't know what happened with Big Country, but I saw folks in the comments, and I think Big Country himself could not even hear me. Let me know if you folks can hear me now. We'll keep it moving, but he did say he was driving. See folks saying he's driving. Can you hear me at all now? Okay, all right, fair enough. We'll keep the program going. For some reason, when individuals get on with a loud background, it really affects the viewers, because I could hear them perfectly. I was ready to engage with them perfectly, but there was comment after comment after comment saying that they couldn't hear. So we'll keep it moving though. And looking in the comments, I see Andre on YouTube said, "Are you serious? You think color will make the president? Wow, you live in a different world." I'm looking on YouTube. You're intelligent. You know that if Tim Scott were to be loyal to Nikki simply because she put him in office, that would be contrary to his oath and against his constituents. Are you serious? This is a comment. We run a simultaneous broadcast on YouTube. Someone is saying that if Tim Scott was loyal to Nikki Haley, it would look like a conflict of interest of sorts. How many folks are pissed off at virtually every well-respected Republican politician simply because they're not loyal to Trump? That was the whole issue with Ron DeSantis from the moment he announced his presidential run, is he wasn't loyal to Trump. Trump appointed him virtually to the gubernatorialship in Florida. In other words, Trump's endorsement is why Ron DeSantis became a rock star as governor. There were tons of folks all over social media, certainly on my page, suggesting that was the reason they didn't like Ron DeSantis, is he wasn't loyal. But Tim Scott being loyal to Nikki Haley, gets a different judge? I don't get that one. All right, let me go back to the box. Appreciate you guys that are tapping the screen. Papa, I cannot pronounce the rest of that, but we'll make it happen. Can't wait until he is back in. Soon, boys, soon. It is looking that way. Is Trump politically unstoppable? That is what we're talking about today. He's had an absolute great 10 days or so. Vivek dropped. Then you had Ron DeSantis just dropped the other day. Endorsements from both Vivek, endorsements from Ron DeSantis, endorsements from Tim Scott. It's been a great few days for President Trump. Is he politically unstoppable? Is there anybody that can show a little bit of competition to Trump? Because the polls suggest Biden is not doing that either. Trump is on a roll, says William. It's hard to argue otherwise. Real quick, has Trump ever been loyal to anyone, says Billy Wop. I'm not able to point to anyone, and I will suggest that this does not work both ways. I'm not comparing Trump to the deity. I'm not comparing Trump to God or Jesus. But at the end of the day, you are required to be loyal to the Lord. He is not required to be loyal to you. That is optional. Not comparing Trump to Jesus or the Lord, but that is the same way it kind of works with Trump. You are required to be loyal to Trump. He is not required to be loyal to you, and that's what I've seen. And I see the comment says, you just did. Only reason why I used that, because that was the only thing that came to mind. If I could have thought of some other situation, I would have used it. I didn't want to compare it to the deity, but that's the first thing came to mind. All right, looking in the box, we'll keep it going with Moo, the tuxedo cat. Asking that question, can Trump be stopped? Moo, good afternoon.
Yeah, sure he can be stopped. Yeah, I would argue actually that DeSantis and Vivek dropping out, all of them dropping out is very good for Nikki Haley. She now stands a very good chance of winning New Hampshire. In fact, I would wager a bet that she will beat Trump in New Hampshire.
But let's be honest, even if you're 100% right and Nikki Haley beats Trump in New Hampshire, that's the end of the road for her. You think she's going to start winning in other states?
No, I think it's a lot like when he made Xerxes bleed, right? When the 300, that Spartan, he made Xerxes bleed, right? You need to see your God bleed, and then you start to realize that he's just human, right? That'll be the unraveling of Trump if Haley beats him in New Hampshire. That'll show a huge weakness in his campaign. He'll have never had another Republican candidate whoop him like that. He's going to start to get scared. This is actually terrible for Trump. The more people that drop out and it's just him and Haley, actually the worse for him it is.
Even though all of these folks that are dropping out are endorsing Trump to the point where his Republican support seems to be snowballing, you think it's bad for Trump?
I mean, you know, his base is very loud-mouthed, you know what I mean? They're the loudest people in the entire world. If you rely strictly on how loud they are, you would think the entire country was for Trump, right? But in fact, he got less votes than Biden. He's actually the minority. It's just that they're louder than everybody else.
But let me ask you that. In the offseason, we can talk about Trump, but let me skip over to Biden real quick. Do you think from 2020 to now, 2024, do you think Biden's support has grown or has it shrunk?
I don't think Biden had much support to begin with. People voted against. So the thing that the thing that Republicans are failing to understand is nobody likes Biden. You guys don't like Biden. We don't like Biden. It's just that people hate Trump. So if you guys were to offer anything aside from Trump, you would most likely win the election. Yeah. But because you're offering us a Nazi, right? A lot of the country doesn't want that, guys. So more people don't want a Nazi than do want a Nazi. So you're kind of in a predicament because Biden's support really don't matter. It's about people voting against Trump. It was
but are we okay? Fair enough, and I do agree with you that a lot of the Biden voters are actually anti-Trump voters. But in 2024, when you look at the economy, people are blaming Biden, whether or not he's responsible. We can debate that, but whether or not people are blaming the economy on Biden, even though folks say the economy is doing well, the American voter doesn't apparently agree. Same thing with the border. They're blaming that on Biden. And then they're talking about his cognitive abilities. So what I'm asking is, you talk about the anti-Trump vote. Is there now starting to be an anti-Biden vote because of the issues I just mentioned?
No, because Biden's border policy is Trump's border policy, right? They have the same exact border policy. There's no difference between the two. Again, the economy's better under Biden than it was under Trump. Biden has stronger numbers in GDP, the stock market, unemployment. He has stronger numbers in every single category when it comes to the economy. So again, you know, Trump has really nothing to brag about because Trump fucked up the entire economy in 2020. He sat there, he did very little other than do tax cuts for the rich, right? That's what blew up our deficit and then caused a bunch of inflation because, you know, Trump is a moron and he doesn't know how to run anything, including his businesses, which all went under and are being taken out of commission at this point. So, you know, it is what it is, man. It's not about whether
but wait a minute.
Good job or not.
But Moo,
honestly, it's more about the fact that they're electing a Nazi.
But Moo, have you ever heard of the phrase "perception is reality"?
Well, you know, if you go by the loudest people, right? If you went by the loudest people, then there should have been a red wave, right? And if you go by the loudest people, then Trump should have won the last election, right? And if you go by the loudest people, Trump wouldn't have lost 60 court cases.
Yeah, but I'm not. I agree with that part. Wait, hold on, hang on, move, hold on. I don't disagree with that. But what I'm saying is, when I say perception is reality, even among the quiet folks, they have a perception. And the point I'm making is, you start talking about Biden's economy is better than Trump's, or Biden's border policy is no different than Trump. Is that the perception in America, that both of these guys are going to do the same thing at the border? Their economies are the same?
Yeah, I mean, what do you expect? Trump had 4 years to fix the border, my dude. And again, he has a vested interest now. Like, your boy had 4 years, guys, right? Like, Americans are well aware that your guy just served 4 years. He didn't fix a goddamn thing. He didn't do a goddamn thing for anybody yet. You guys are acting like, oh, make America great. We saw what your homeboy could do. He fucked everything up. He's not getting another chance. Y'all are nuts. Y'all are all he has, bro. He's not gaining any support. He's not gaining. I saw people walking the hell out of his fucking rally in New Hampshire.
Really?
They're tired of your homeboy. Yeah, they're walking the fuck out. And those are supposed to be his most loyal people, and they're walking the hell out of his rallies, bro. People have Trump exhaustion. He has a small, tiny little base about as big as his tiny little hands, all right? And they're very loud and obnoxious and toothless people, right? And that's why oh my God, Trump's gonna, no, they're just fucking loud like last time.
All right. Well, in response, or better yet, in support of what you are saying, Victor McKinday in the comments, referring to yours truly, says Tim doesn't want to understand that the people who hate Trump are more than those who want Biden. I think that's what I echo on many of my programs. So maybe you're a new viewer, but I kind of echo some of the same things that Moo is actually saying, but it is in my nature to push back. But the polls on Biden, so you believe they are flat out wrong?
Yeah, of course they've been wrong before. Listen, people don't want Trump, dude. People don't want Biden either. And again, if the Republicans would actually offer something else up, it's clear that they would win. But they're so devoted to this orange turd that they just can't do anything else, right?
But in regards to your comment that the Republicans could do better if they pick somebody else, you use the orange piece of fecal matter. Are we on the left, is the left perhaps devoted to the wrong dude?
I don't know very many, so I would say the Democratic Party, the DNC themselves are devoted to Biden because they are kingmakers. I don't know of any Democrats outside of the actual DNC running the election itself that are devoted to Biden.
Okay. And I'm the same way. I don't see many Biden flags. Even when I'm in Chicago, I don't see a lot of, I see Trump shit everywhere. I don't see, obviously not in.
Last time, too. I mean, you didn't see Biden shit all over the place that last election either.
That's a
Listen,
good.
they like to look stupid. They dress up in their pajamas. I told you, man, these guys have homosexual tendencies.
Right.
They like pictures of Trump in tight outfits with nut huggers on, right? They like to pretend he has abs and shit like that. He's fat, he's disgusting, and he looks like them. So that's why they like him.
All right, Moo. Appreciate you coming on, man. Always a pleasure. Damn. All right, let me go. A lot of the audience loves Moo. They be eating that shit up. All right, looking in the comments. Moo, listen, I enjoy talking to Moo. He's left of me, but I do believe in free speech, just like I get a hell of a lot of folks that are far right to me. Looking in the comments, Box isn't allowed to free think, says Christy. Obviously, you're not. You're somewhat of a new voter, a new viewer rather. The Box is not allowed free thought. Really? Okay, what program is this? All right, going back to the Box, by the way, we'll keep it moving with King David. Love the name. Welcome back to the program. King, good afternoon.
Yeah, what's good, handsome? We talked before.
Absolutely.
I think pretty fair in giving people, their opinion, and you're pretty open-minded, but at the end of the day, let's go back to that person that just was in the Box. He literally called Trump a Nazi. Do you hear how irrational this person sounds? This guy literally brokered an Abraham Accord.
And that's kind of funny, but
do you see how crazy this person? At the end of the day, if you're gonna say something, be rational.
But wait a minute. Hold on, let me push back. Allow me to push back. You're talking about how irrational it sounds to call Trump a member of the Third Reich. How do you view Trump calling the sitting senators and folks like that bird brain and sanctimonious? Are you okay with that?
So we're really gonna say, all right. Let's break this down. Let's unpack this.
Sure.
First of all, let's bring it back to the point that he literally called Trump a Nazi when obviously he brought the Jerusalem, Israel to the capital, right?
Good.
You know what I'm saying? So to say that is literally an objective contradiction.
Yeah, but once again, I'm going to push back. If you think it sounds ridiculous for a guy who moved,
it sounds ridiculous because to call somebody a Nazi when he clearly has done things for the Israeli people, and this is neither here nor there about whatever the conflict is, because that's another problem that's going on. Because objectively speaking, when Trump was in office, there was no wars.
Okay, that's fair enough. But hold on, let me respond back. If you find it to be outrageous to call someone like Trump, who's done things for Israel, a Nazi, Trump appointed Nikki Haley ambassador. She was a successful governor of South Dakota. Calling her a bird brain, you're okay with that? Is that not equally ridiculous?
At the end of the day, so let me. So those are two different things. So what you're asking me to do is Trump is like he's in a fight. He's in a boxing match. That's what this is. It's me against you, right? So I mean, if you were talking about Biden, well, calling him birds brains, like we're literally seeing his brain melt in real time.
We're talking about wait. Let's not go on. We'll go to Biden. We'll go to Biden. But hold on. Wait. You're going in many directions. What I'm asking you. You're pointing out how awful it sounds to call Trump a Nazi. Are you defending Trump calling someone with Nikki Haley's resume a bird brain?
No, I'm not saying it's awful. What I'm saying it's irrational because there's objective evidence that he's the opposite of a Nazi.
Okay.
He's supporting Israel people. So whether I'm pro-Israel or not, to say something to appeal to emotion or to appeal to side, because here's the thing, people that are listening right now, the government works for us. don't play identity politics.
You're not, but you're not answering my. You're
Republican or Democrat. I think what we really need to understand is that we have the power.
You're not answering my. Wait. You're
people in office, and that's what makes it.
Okay, hold on, hang on. You're filibustering. Wait. You're filibustering. You said a lot of things, but you didn't answer that question. You're saying there's evidence to show calling Trump a Nazi is ridiculous. I pointed out Nikki Haley's resume, which should be evidence she's not a bird brain, and you went around it.
No, I already addressed that. When you in a fight, right? Like, this is a match. This is me versus you. Like at the end of the day, that's just Trump's strategy and tactics. You got it in the real world. I'm not agreeing with it, but it's me against you.
Well, is it not? Okay, wait, hold on, hang on. You gotta look.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you're giving very detailed answers.
Even with DeSantis, like bullying DeSantimonious stuff like that, and I like DeSantis. What I would prefer is in Trump and then DeSantis. But you know what I'm saying? I actually like DeSantis, but like when you in the ring, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, all right. So wait, hold on. So let me ask you this. Hold on, King Davis. Your answers have to be shorter. You're on DeSantis now. Your answers have to give me time to respond to you. We're having a conversation.
I'm putting things into context. So here's the thing, Hansel Liberal. I'm putting things into context.
Can you do it faster?
That's why I said let's slow things down. I have a rational reason why I think that Moo guy is ridiculous, because he's calling him a Nazi without any, not only like evidence, or it just doesn't make any sense. Now, insulting somebody and calling them bird brains, okay, that, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, that's Trump tactics. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's good or right or wrong. What I'm saying is that I'm saying when you in a dog fight, right? This is me against you. Obviously, he's gonna be the bully. That's just what it is. I wouldn't expect Nikki Haley to not do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Now, at the end of the day, does that make me pro-Trump or pro-Biden? Here's the thing: I voted for Trump in 2018. I voted for him. I thought, you know what I'm saying? But what I started realizing is actually start understanding the stock market and actually how money works and actually what's going on. Objectively speaking, even
King. We're not asking why you voted for Trump. There's a hell of a lot of legitimate reasons to vote for. King. I cannot have a.
When I start seeing things unravel,
all right. Unfortunately, I gotta move it on. I'm trying to have a. I don't like first person I've ever had to take down, but we're not having a conversation. I mean, the guy said he wanted to put it in context. I'm fine. But if your answers are 3-4 minutes long, I don't know what else to do with that. You're always welcome back on the program, but you gotta have answers that doesn't cover so much in one response. Now, the obvious thing I wanted to ask him back is, you defend Trump calling Nikki Haley a bird brain because, well, they're in a fight. But you have a problem with someone calling Trump a Nazi as if they're not the opposition to him. My last caller would consider Trump the enemy, just like Trump would view Nikki Haley. I'm just simply saying, judge, call it strike a strike. You know how the saying goes, but fact is, if you're going to defend Trump's insults, you kind of forfeit the right to really criticize others. I mean, Trump has been calling people names the entire time he's been on the scene. You don't expect names to come back at him? I mean, are we playing some type of T-ball? Are you asking for a handicap? Looking in the box. And damn, I hated to have to drop a caller. Listen, even to the damn caller, I apologize. But at some point, we're not having a conversation. You're just talking. And that's kind of what happened. Going back to the box, Scott Q. Patriot. Good afternoon. Welcome to the box. Threw me off. I am very, very strong in supporting free speech. I don't normally have to take somebody down, but we weren't talking. He was just going on and on. Scott, good afternoon. Scott Q Patriot, are you there?
Yeah, good afternoon. How you doing there?
I'm doing good. Talking about number 45, President. Yeah, loud and clear. Can you hear me? You have a low signal, but can you hear me?
Yeah, I do have a low signal. I've been waiting a little while.
Yeah.
Some interesting conversations. No, I was just curious, trying to grasp what you're talking about here. I know you're talking about 45.
Can Trump? I'll go ahead and preempt it. Is Trump unstoppable? He's had a great 10 days. Vivek drops, Ron DeSantis drops, Tim Scott endorses him. So did Vivek and Ron DeSantis. Is he politically unstoppable at this point?
Most definitely. Yeah, there's not going to be anybody that's going to be able to stop him.
So it's probably about time America views Trump as our next commander in chief.
I believe so. I mean, if you look at what's going on around, not only in this country, around the world, Trump is loved. Your two callers before that, I agree with the caller before me. There's people that have that TDS syndrome, where they're not thinking rationally. Trump is unstoppable at this point. He has the pulse of the whole political climate, manufacturing. Everything in this country is pushing that pulse, and that pulse is Donald J. Trump.
You said people are thinking irrationally in regards to Trump. Give me some examples of how folks viewing Trump are acting in an irrational manner.
Well, you look at a lot of the sentiment out there. They just.
I'll give it a second. My caller. Yeah, Scott, can you hear me?
It's just absolutely horrible that they.
Yeah, you're going in and out. Unfortunately, Scott, I'm gonna have to move it on. You're always welcome back, but you have a really, really poor signal. What's funny is the Democrats made Trump what he is today, says James Patterson. I agree with that. That's in the comments. I absolutely agree that the Democrats certainly helped Trump become what he is. I don't buy into the notion that going after Trump, if you think he committed a crime, is helping him become. Look, if folks endorse somebody that may be criminal, that's on them. I don't believe the charges are helping Trump and is something to blame on the Democrats. I think that folks who like Trump have in their mind that everybody hates him, and even if he does commit a crime, going after him is going to draw more support from MAGA. I believe the Democrats helped Trump by putting him on TV because he is a ratings bonanza. So whereas Fox would not be quick to put a Biden speech on TV, or at the time a Hillary Clinton speech, CNN and MSNBC was happy to put Trump on because people would watch. They have since corrected that, but the damage is done. Trump, for instance, when he won Iowa, actually gave a speech, a victory speech. CNN gave it 10 minutes. MSNBC did not cover it at all. And the right-wing media went crazy like that shows your bias. I'm kind of torn on it. When I was at the Trump rally I personally attended almost 3 months ago, CNN was there, and they were recording it. Trump gets on stage, says some controversial things, and goes, well, CNN is not going to show this. Everybody turns around and looks at the cameraman. It's on, they're recording it. So at the end of the day, if you have a media outlet, do you televise somebody that is saying everything about your news channel is fake? Is it to your benefit to put someone on TV that is constantly criticizing your network? It's up to you to decide. Going back to the box, we'll keep it moving with big, I don't know what just happened there. Country Hound Dog. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Why that's coming up. I'm a migrant host. They are here for money and plan to return home. Well, hogwow. As long as they work to earn that money, what's wrong with it? You don't think Justin Bieber, who's Canadian, Drake, the rapper, who is Canadian, you don't think they're returning some of their money to Canada? Simon Cowell, you don't think he's returning some of that money to the UK? Okay, if a Hispanic comes here and sends money home, what's the difference? Looking in the comments. I don't know what happened with my... Okay, there we go. Country Hound Dog, good afternoon.
How's it going, Handsome? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm in the trenches today. I'm getting hammered. Is Trump unstoppable?
Here's my prediction. And this is as close as I can figure I think it'll end up going. When it comes down to the final presidential race between Trump and Biden, I think Trump is going to take somewhere near 65% of the vote this go around.
Wow. So you think that's pretty much a landslide?
Yes, sir, it is. And even the thing of it is, this year, I think this is even more so than the 2016 and 2020. I think this year is going to define where the U.S. stands, not with the rest of the world, but whether we are going to put our differences aside and come together as a people, or are we going to divide?
Well, speaking of that, let me ask you. Now, you know Trump is not a fan of helping out the Ukrainians. I don't know where he stands on continuing to help out the Israelis, but if he starts basically refusing to help countries that we now feel are allies, is that going to bring everybody together? I mean, there's a lot of people in this country, including most of the Republican Party, that want to continue helping the Ukrainians.
When it comes to Ukraine, the only reason I think we will stay in that fight and keep a dog in that fight, I've said it before, 25% of our foreign oil passes through that port.
Okay.
That's it. We lose that, and watch what prices do on the fuel pump.
So you believe that even though Trump is suggesting we're going to leave the Ukraine to their own devices, he's not telling the truth about that?
I'm not sure if he's telling the truth, or, as you know, our government has done a lot of underhanded, sneaky stuff around the world without any of us knowing.
Right.
Okay? And I can tell you for a fact, and I went to Portugal, and it was never publicized, nor has it ever been released. So...
Wait, what? Wait. You went to Portugal?
I was in the military.
Oh, okay.
I was called in. I was told to take a vacation in another country by Uncle Sam, and that still remains classified. I really don't say much about it at all.
So
that one went sideways on us.
How many of you were there?
They sent a 5-man team.
Well, you don't think they're going to tell us where a group of 5.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Our government does so much underhanded, sneaky stuff around the world that we will never know.
Right. Okay.
Now, I agree whether Trump is telling the truth that we'll pull out of Ukraine or not. I do like the fact that we was not in a war when Trump was in.
Wait a minute, though. Think about what you just said. Our government does so many underhanded things you never know. We may have been in a war under Trump, and you might have not knew about it.
That is true. That is true. I mean, our government did do one thing that I totally disagreed with. As evil as the man was. Okay, Muammar Gaddafi.
Okay.
As evil as he was.
We had him killed. Yeah, we had him killed by his own people.
The problem with that was we destabilized that region.
Oh, shit, isn't that what we do? Isn't that why Venezuela doesn't have a government? Hell, we have something. We're the reason why Haiti is so bad. I mean, we're the reason Iraq doesn't have a government. We destabilize a lot of governments. That's the American method of operation.
You are right about that. Yeah. You are right about that. Now, anyways, I'm going to get away from that because I don't want to get into it because, like I said, I buried a lot of brothers before I came home.
Well,
A lot of my brothers.
well, we do appreciate your service, even if they were exploiting the hell out of you to take freedoms from other people. But what I wanna ask,
I'm gonna push back on Moda Tuxedo Cat a little bit.
Okay.
Because one of the things he mentioned was the whole border, securing the border thing.
Right.
February 26th, 29.
My caller might have a caller. We'll give him a second. Dems try to pass. I saw something in the comments I wanted to read, but okay. Guy seems reasonably intelligent, but supporting Trump contradicts that. Are you suggesting, Shy One Horse in the comments, that an intelligent person can't support Trump? Is that what you're saying? Country Hound Dog, you back?
Yeah, I'm back. I tried to click over to another screen to read something, but I did double check the date, February 26, 2019. And this is why I've said before, when Dems are in office, Republicans block stuff, and when Republicans are in, Dems block stuff. It goes both ways. Pelosi and the Dems, they had the House at the time. They blocked Trump's border security, plan. They blocked it. But now that the Dems are in, who's trying to block it?
And that's, you make a great point, because there is a suggestion that Biden's border policies are not as bad as folks are saying, that Biden actually has plans in place to get the border under control. And as you point out, the Republicans are stopping it to make it look like Biden is chaotic.
And yet Pelosi and the Dems blocked Trump when he was trying to do it. And that's the problem with our government. All they do is sit up there and argue back and forth to make us think they're doing something, when the reality is they're not. That's why I say this year is going to determine. We as the people, we got to decide whether we want to be united or whether we're going to separate from each other and be divided.
But do you think that's going to happen with Trump in office?
Going back on something you said a few days back.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
You said that if Biden gets reelected, yes, we will see some trouble from the right.
Yeah.
Okay. But if Trump gets reelected, we will see far more trouble from the left.
I believe that. I do believe that. I could be wrong, but I do believe that.
And unfortunately, and it's just simply, I think a lot of people are just misinformed because the media panders. The government knows the media panders to people, and they use that to their advantage.
Yeah, but let me interrupt and just say this, because you often hear when folks are asked, why do so many people dislike Trump? Is he's going to drain the swamp? He's going to expose corruption? As you talk about the media propaganda, no one ever says Trump is deliberately doing things to piss people off. The name calling has consequences to it. People, the public not liking Trump, a lot of that is based on what he says.
Well, I mean, and you're right. He does do a lot of name calling. As for him calling Haley a bird brain, he shouldn't. I guess a bird brain maybe is the wrong term, because she is an incredibly smart woman. She does have her degree.
What about him using her actual name?
I don't think you can compare calling somebody a Nazi to simply calling somebody a bird brain.
That's a legitimate point. That's a legitimate point, but instead of us having to say, you hit me harder than I hit you, how about we not hit to begin with? Instead of saying that, well, you called him a racist or a Nazi, that's worse than him calling you a socialist. Why is Trump engaging in this stuff? Why is he doing it?
Well, let's go back to when McCain was running. When McCain was running against Obama, okay? And I'll be honest with you, Obama, God, the man, he had charisma. I'll never dispute that. The man had charisma. Could have done hell of a lot of good. And I don't think he was pulling the strings. I think there was other powers at play.
Okay.
On that. But McCain, if McCain would have attacked harder than he did, I think McCain could have won that election. McCain tried to do this.
So what are you suggesting? You're suggesting You're suggesting that Trump is calling people names because it works for him politically?
I don't think it matters who it is running for presidential office. Americans want to hear them coming out strong and tough, no matter how it's done.
So, wait a minute. Think about what you're saying, though. If America wants to hear a candidate coming out strong and tough, as you say, no matter how it's done, then folks may want to hear Trump being referred to as a racist.
I'm not saying that people won't want to hear that. And people on the left will want to hear that stuff. People on the right won't. But when Trump says something, people on the right will want to hear it, and people on the left won't.
So basically Trump is acting. So when you use McCain and you mention Obama, and now you're saying left and right, people going to hear Trump, you're basically saying Trump is a typical politician.
In that manner, yes.
Okay.
He's going to do what he's got to do to get elected. But show me a politician that does not use, that does not pander to a specific demographic to ensure a win.
I don't know if I get your point, but I don't know if I've ever heard a politician state that a war general, combat decorated general, is the most overrated general in U.S. history, or calling sitting senators bird brains and my war hero don't get captured. I don't think there's any other politician I can come up with that's comparable to that. I think Trump took insulting to a whole new level, but then the moment he's insulted, folks don't want it at that level.
I hear you. I agree with you. And when you say he did take it to a new level, he did. He is at the top of the charts for slinging insults all day long.
And that is why when you ask, you start talking, the media is making Trump hated. No, it is exactly what you just stated. He is at the top of the game for slinging insults. That comes with consequences. You're going to have a hell of a lot of people hating you when you're suggesting that whole cities are a shithole. That is why people hate him.
Well, and unfortunately, I can actually compare it to some of the cities here in the U.S., places I've been overseas, and I can understand why Trump said that.
Country. Let me just make it.
People within those cities are not being treated fairly, and because of the infrastructure within them cities, those cities are crumbling and going under.
Yeah.
And because of that, that's why he labeled them that.
Well, let me just.
Should he have called it a shithole? No. He could have used different terms so that people didn't hate him so bad.
Susie Q, thank you.
He does speak his mind.
Yeah, let me just say it like this. You're not going to get unity when folks keep defending Trump's insults. I don't care how fat I get. I don't want somebody calling me a fat fuck and saying, well, you are overweight. Look, you don't call a town, a whole one of America's top 10 cities, you don't call it a shithole and then expect the people in it to vote for you. I mean, at some point, we have to hold our leaders to a higher account. You're calling whole metropolitan areas a shithole. There's a lot of people, a lot of businesses, industries, children that live in that area. That is not where you want to go down in history, because at the end of the day, Trump can't make Baltimore better. He can't do nothing about Chicago. That's if you believe in states' rights, it's going to be up to the governor and
or the people there in that state. That's the only way you can do that.
So why get involved in that?
What's involved in it? Making that state better?
So do you see Baltimore, now that Trump served 4 years, does Baltimore or Chicago look like it's better?
I've never been to Chicago. I got a couple friends that live up there, but I can't speak on that because I really just don't know enough about Chicago. What I will say is this: I think because of federal policies from both sides, is the reason why places like Chicago, Michigan, and New York are going downhill. Because of big factories that are there that used to produce parts, cars, and all those things were shipped overseas.
Yeah.
And that's because of policies from both sides. But let me ask you this.
Real quick, I'm going to have to move it on, but I'll give you the last word. Go ahead.
Your thoughts. I want your thoughts, and I want to ask everybody in the room through the comments. When it comes down to it, I think right now the person who is making the biggest play to show what is wrong with the border and is actually creating the most support for Trump inadvertently is actually Governor Abbott by sending the immigrants to New York and Chicago and Michigan. And now that the immigrants being there are affecting these places, these people directly, these people are now turning on their own government within that state and saying, look, we don't want to support you Democrats if this is the open border policy and it's going to affect us directly.
All right, Country Hound Dog, I will respond to that on the other side. You're always welcome back. Appreciate it. Now, in regards to what my last guest said, I agree with him. I'm not a fan of what Governor Abbott or even Ron DeSantis did in busing migrants up north, because I think they did it from a manner of being just completely inhumane. But in regards to the claim that it drew attention and it is swaying hearts and minds of voters in liberal cities, that is true. I got a cousin I spent a half hour debating with that is considering voting for Trump simply because of the migrant issue. Nothing else. Simply because of the migrant issue. So absolutely correct. But I'm going to give you my take on this. Although I believe what Abbott and DeSantis to a lesser degree did in regards to busing the migrants is helping Trump, I view it as winning the battle but losing the war. Simply put, this may sway some voters to Trump because some of these liberals are pissed off with migrants all over their damn city. That's a victory in terms of the battle. When I say losing a war, doing all of this inhumane stuff to Hispanics, some of the language you're hearing like invasions, rapists, and murderers, what is some of the other ones? Vermin, poison in the blood of a... When I say losing a war, this is making the Republican Party look like racist. It really is. I mean, it's making... A lot of those folks are like, look, I came here to get a job and better myself. Why am I a vermin? Why am I poisoning blood? I mean, there's no selectivity to this term. It's being blanketed over all of these people. So winning the battle, because it may help Trump with voters in liberal cities, losing the war, these comments can be played 20 years later. If you're a migrant family that has now gained residency and you can vote, you can play this for your children. Look how they treated us when we came here. Look at what the Republican Party was saying about us when we got here. We were vermin. I mean, those terms can be played just like terms from Adolf 50, 60 years later, long after Trump is gone. And there's not just Trump saying this. There's a lot of these awful terms coming from the Republican Party. That could easily turn into a tremendous landslide for Democratic support in the future. Very similar to how folks suggested blacks always vote Democrat. You ask a lot of blacks why you always vote Democrat, they play slogans from in the 1960s. Those slogans are not good. I'm just going to tell you, I don't know how you feel right now. Maybe you disagree with every damn thing I'm saying. You're entitled to do that. But those slogans will not age well for the Republican Party. The Democrats, sanctuary cities, putting them up in hotels in Chicago. They're putting them in city buses, giving them heat, giving them food, all of the things that the Republicans say, you're giving them all this free shit. But meanwhile, the Republicans are calling them vermins and poison. You don't think that that's going to be remembered among the Hispanics? I mean, I'm just telling you, you're winning the battle, but the war is going to be different. Looking in the comment section, GOP party of no, says Q Finney. Yikes. There are too many blacks that are still on the plantation, says Bryce Rip. Fair enough. Fair enough. And maybe that is true, plus or minus a few comments. But the fact is, comments like what we're talking about shouldn't exist. You can't have that as part of your history and then say, well, these people are too dumb to get off the plantation. Why are those comments there? Just want to point that out. Going back to the box. We'll keep it moving with DJ Fly Guy. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Is Trump unstoppable? Politically unstoppable. Trump is... You got a loud background. It may affect our conversation. DJ, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, man, because I'm driving. I thought it was going to be... Can you give me about 15, 20 minutes?
I can't give you that much time. I can give you a couple minutes.
I'm talking about until you come back, until you get back to...
Oh, yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Move the program on. I want to look on YouTube. I'll make sure let you guys know I don't forget those on the other side. It wasn't near as relevant until Trump decided to focus on the southern border and use it as his biggest campaign promise. Yes and no. Trump definitely gets a lot of political capital about what's happening at the border, but at the end of the day, there is a lot of people coming through. That's not something that should be ignored. I don't fault Trump or any Republican for pointing it out. I'm just not a fan of painting these people to be terrorists and folks coming in to kill everybody. That's the part. I mean, listen, there's too many folks coming over, is competing with Americans for jobs or whatever you want to bring up. But painting them out to all be rapists and murderers and vermin and putting... that is awful. I don't know how else to look at it. That is painting them out basically to say we hate those people. Everything about them is bad. We want them to go home. We hate them. You got Governor Abbott putting contraptions in the water that is actually taking lives, and hey, I don't give a damn. And most of the Republican Party is unapologetic as well. What is the phrase? You should have came here legally. Too bad you died. You don't think that's going to age well? Going back to the box. And I do appreciate you. Tap the screen, by the way. I haven't solicited that. 700 plus of you in there, nearly 800 people. Get your boy up to around 50,000. Let your thumbs not be lazy. Rainy Kane, good afternoon. Welcome to the show. Let me see if I can make this happen. Box has been a little bit problematic. Always happy to hear from Rainy. We're talking about, is President Trump politically unstoppable at this point? Rainy, what say you? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tim. Happy New Year. In the Republican primary between him and Nikki Haley, absolutely.
Well, what about between him and Biden?
Biden's gonna win. And me and you had this fight again in the midterms. We had this fight. I was like, you're wrong, Tim. You're wrong. You guys keep watching these stupid polls. People will see this fool. He's still talking crazy. And like you talked about the migrants and all that stuff.
Thank you.
Now the people are talking about agreeing with him. We should put alligators and hippos in the Rio Del Grande. I'm like, who? Since when did Americans become homicidal crazies?
Our history is, wait, Randy, come on now. Our history is homicidal. We got all the best weapons. We have perfected killing people. Drones, all of that stuff started with us. We are homicidal.
Average fucking citizen. People usually aren't just homicidally crazy. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's where I'm talking about. The average Joe on this app that's agreeing with this stuff. It's a wild scenario. Again, and I always ask these people, how are they affecting your life? At all. How do these migrants affect your life?
Well, I can respond to that.
Right? You live in Chi, or you moved somewhere else. I think you're from Chi. I don't know.
I'm from Chicago, and I got family that those migrants are really affecting their lives. They really are.
How so?
Well, I got a cousin, for instance, that works for the transit authority there, just like New York has its buses, and he works for Chicago Transit Authority. They're all over the platforms, making his job harder. They don't want to get off the trains. They're sleeping on them. They're everywhere. They're filling up in New York. They're sleeping in schools, and the kids have to stay home. I mean,
okay. I see Okay, so people being out on the streets. This is my thing. Like the local government, they should just eminent domain all them empty ass WalMarts that closed down and let them people stay in there. Hey, you got some shelter over there. Here it is. That's where you can stay. I mean, they need to figure it out. Don't get me wrong. I don't agree with none of that stuff. But I'm just asking the average Joe. I don't know how that's affecting your life.
Well, it's going to affect your life. If you are, they filling up the homeless shelters. There are hotels where they're putting them in. So folks, regular individual that wants to get a room for the night, the hotel is filled with immigrants. They are all over the city.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Like I said, I'm from a border state. I'm from the state of California. We got the largest border in fucking America with Mexico. You know what I'm saying? So for me, these people have never affected my life. We got tunnels. We got more tunnels in our fucking state in Mexico than Hamas does. You know, over in Gaza. You know, so for me, the border wall is a joke. The whole scenario is a fucking joke. But like you said into the other caller, the Congress is purposely not doing their job. Both sides. I will agree with the last caller too. Both sides are politically using this shit as a football. You know, the Democrats are like, unless I can get DACA legalization, I'm not doing nothing. Like, no, mofo. We're past this DACA stuff. We're past all of this. We need to stop we cannot absorb the whole Southern Hemisphere into America. The whole thing is just crazy to me. So I think
at the end of the day, if Trump gets back in office, do you think he could get the border under control to satisfy the people a little bit more?
No, because the guy's claiming that he actually had it under control when he was president, and we already know his numbers was the same as Obama's numbers. What are we talking about here? Yes, I acknowledge under Joe Biden gets an F. He's a big fat F on the border. He gets an F.
What about the economy? What about the economy? That does affect everybody.
What about the economy?
What letter grade would you give Biden on the economy?
Probably a C or B minus.
What about Trump?
I give him the same.
So you don't see any difference between these two men? I mean, you see them as equal?
Absolutely. If we're not going to take credit for or give Donald Trump any blame for what happened in 2020, where 26 million people were unemployed and fucking people couldn't even get toilet paper. If you're willing to erase that whole year from his presidency, then Joe Biden walking into the same trouble and the same bullshit, and Joe Biden gets no fucking leeway because he walked into office and the country was fucked up. I'm sorry. I'm going to give them both the same grade.
So then you don't see any major reason why Trump probably shouldn't be reelected either. I mean, they're kind of similar, according to you.
Absolutely. I don't see Donald Trump as a beneficiary to America in any shape or form or fashion.
Explain.
At all.
Explain. What do you mean?
He's a horrible. He was a horrible representative for America. Horrible. And you talked to the last caller. Just not just his rhetoric, but just the way he treated our allies, the way he made us look around the world. The man was crazy. He was a psychopath. So no, I don't.
Wait a minute. What did Trump? Give me an example before we move it on. What did Trump do to lead you to believe he was crazy and a psychopath?
Okay, so when he was in Helsinki, sitting next to Vladimir Putin, and told that man in front of the world that he believed him over our own U.S. intelligence agency. In front of the whole world, you told your whole world, your country don't know shit, and you believe the enemy.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I gotta give it up. That I don't know about a psychopath, but that was something that should not be said on the world stage. That's crazy that you trust, a foreign leader more than you do our own intelligence agencies. But at the end of the day, you do realize Trump doesn't really believe anybody in Washington is on his side anyway.
Yeah, I know you got other callers. I just wanted to come up and tell you Happy New Year. Talk to you soon, brother. Thank you.
100%. Appreciate it. Always welcome. All right. Going back to the box in reality, Trump is here for the rich and here to make himself richer. And he knows they will back him. It's a lot of poor people backing Trump. A lot of folks who believe Biden's economy has them suffering, and they're backing Trump too. I mean, some of the poorest states in the union, West Virginia, Mississippi, all of that shit down south, particularly the rural areas, is pretty damn poor. Louisiana, they're all backing Trump. So I don't know about only the rich. Now, he may make the rich richer, but the poor actually believes he has something in store for them as well. Looking in the comments, the economy is great right now, says Big Nasty. I'm hearing that from a lot of economists. I am hearing that. And I don't believe the economy is doing that bad. However, I brought out, as I mentioned before, perception is reality. Fact is, we're dealing with a lot of corporate greed. There's no denying that we're dealing with a lot of corporate greed, and there's a lot of price gouging going on. And Biden doesn't have control of that. Under Trump, where I would give Trump more credit than Biden, Trump's vocal. Trump is not going to stop probably holding rallies even if he gets elected. He's very vocal. Trump would actually, on rallies, talk about price gouging, probably bring up boxes of cereal and milk and shit and blame the actual companies for doing it. Trump would call them out. Biden's not doing it. I think one of Biden's biggest hindrances is his lack of delivering the message properly. Regardless of what you think about the economy, there's no denying gas prices have went down. There are plenty of good points to this economy to point out. It ain't all bad. Biden's not telling anybody that. So as a result, perception is the economy sucks big time. There's a lot of things he could point out. Trump would do that. Trump would right now be telling you gas prices at the biggest damn drop in the history of America. Whether it's true or not, he would say it and people would believe it. Biden could do that. So keeping quiet has not worked to Biden's best interest, at least in my opinion. Somebody says, make lying wrong again. I love it. But politicians lie. Politicians lie. Remember George H.W., read my lips, no new taxes? Followed by Bill Clinton, I did not have sex with that woman. Followed by George W. Bush, there's weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Followed by Barack Obama, if you want your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Politicians lie. I mean, I could probably give you 1 million of them on Trump as well. I didn't know Stormy Daniels, for instance. Politicians lie. So we say make lying great again, make lying wrong again. I don't know where to go with that. Going back to the box, though. Red G, let's make it happen. I appreciate you folks. Tap the screen. We should be around 50. Get your boy up to 60,000. Let your thumbs not be lazy. I don't see the box. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I don't know why it doesn't show you there, but so what do you think? Is Trump unstoppable?
As far as the Republican Party, yes. As far as the winning the actual race, I think it's going to come down to what Biden does with the economy up until October.
He only got 10 months.
I think
there's only 10 months left. You think he can make a difference significant enough in 10 months to make people change where they're looking?
Yeah, his cabinet, they have the power and the know-how to really make a lot of change real fast. The problem though is they haven't done it yet, and they could have done it in the first place.
So if the economy's using it, so let me ask you this: if the economy stays the way it is right now, does he lose to Trump?
Biden's definitely gonna lose if it stays the way it is right now. And I think ignoring the immigration thing, probably busing the immigrants was probably the best political move I've seen in a long time. I don't agree with it humanitarianly, like as you said, but you can't just have Texas and California be the only places that are going to suffer for it. So
no, and I don't.
The people there.
Yeah, I don't disagree that Texas should not have to take the full brunt. However, what Governor Abbott and Ron DeSantis did is concentrated their deliveries in one area. All of Illinois, you could have dropped those immigrants off in Rockford. They could have spread somewhere in Milwaukee, Madison. They concentrated them mainly in New York, mainly in Chicago, designed to overwhelm those cities. They weren't trying to relieve the pain that they're suffering from immigrants. They were trying to create chaos in a few particular cities. There's a lot of liberal cities that would have took a few immigrants. But what they did was, we're going to really overrun this city to piss people off.
Well, no, I don't think it's to piss people off. If we look at the way the elections go, most of the votes from New York, Chicago, Michigan are in these places where they're dropping them off, and they're making these voters understand what they've been saying this entire time.
But that's not what I just said. But in regards to your comment, most of the voters, there are voters who support immigrants in Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, as I said, Milwaukee, Madison. All these are liberal cities. They picked a couple of them and flooded them. They could have sent these people all over the place. They didn't have any problem diverting from New York to Kamala Harris's house when the time called for it. They don't all have to go to New York and Chicago. That's done deliberately.
Right, yeah, I'm saying they're doing it deliberately because they understand the Electoral College. They understand how these votes work. And so if they take these couple counties, I mean, you're talking about 200-300 points.
Yeah. So in other words, they're not trying to relieve the pressure that they're dealing with immigrants in Texas. They're trying to do something politically.
I'm saying they're trying to relieve the pressure and do something politically at the same time.
All right, fair enough. And you admit they're playing politics at an inhumane level for these immigrants.
Well, politics is always going to be humane and inhumane. So for us to pretend like politics doesn't involve regular people, it always does.
Yeah, but
it's going to affect the mom and pop. It's going to affect everybody all the time. So I think the talking point about humanity and politics is kind of a moot point.
Now, wait a minute. Hold on. You do realize in Chicago right now going through a brutal winter, New York as well, their mayors, because they can't stop Abbott from sending these folks, their mayors have told them, since you're sending these folks from your warm state to a cold place like this, without any gear or any apparel, let us know where you're driving them off at so we can meet them and provide them with food and supplies. And Abbott has resisted even letting them know where the immigrants are going to be dropped off. We want to drop them off. Hang on. We want to drop them off in the freezing cold without telling you where they're going to go. You're saying that's typical politics.
I'm telling you that, so for my entire life, Texas has been saying, hey, let's get this immigration thing settled. They want to know where they're going to be dropped off too. Texas would love to know where everybody's coming and when they're going to get there. But they don't get that. They don't get that, and they never have.
So what do you...
Why would they extend you some courtesy that you've been voting against for at least 35 years, at a minimum of 35 years?
Why would they extend you courtesy that they didn't get? Maybe because they are moral people. Maybe because they want to do the right thing. They're supposedly Christians, but because the liberals, in your opinion, did something wrong, they're okay doing it too. Is that what you're telling me?
The morality of it is that people will continue to vote for what if they don't understand, they're going to continue to vote. In order to get them to vote, if you want me to give you some sort of heads up when these people are coming, I want you to vote for that when I'm voting for it every single year. Every single year when Texas is crying, yo, we need help at the border. We need help at the border. We can't hold all these people. We don't know what to do with them. No, and New York and I'm from Michigan, Detroit, we've always done this. We vote against it. So now we're giving you the incentive. Oh, you want to know where they're at? We would too.
So in other words, as long as Texas does not feel like it's being properly its problems are being properly addressed or acknowledged, they're okay doing inhumane things. Because at the end of the day, you didn't treat us right. So if a few immigrants die in us responding to your bad treatment, we're okay with that.
Well, because the problem is you're looking at it from the political lens and not the
I'm looking at it from humanity.
The literal thing that is actually going on is that we don't know how many immigrants are coming to this country. We don't know where they are. We don't know what they're doing. And in order for us to do that, we're going to need more border security. And if you guys are going to continue to vote against border security, we're going to send them to you. We're going to give you the same problem we have.
All right. I appreciate it, Red G. And by the way, Nicholas, thank you for the ice skates. Shout out to you. Appreciate that. Thank you for your generosity. Red G, you know, obviously I disagree vehemently with you on this, but you're always welcome to come on, have your say. Come on back through anytime. All right, looking in the comments, what makes anyone think the Republicans will fix anything for them? It's a vote getter, says Rum Coat Guy. You know, I had one of my, not the last guest, but one of the other guests before that, which is also a strong supporter of Trump, stated that the parties play politics when their opposition is in the White House. And the reason I'm bringing that up is for folks who believe that if Trump is reelected, he's going to get the border under control. As Rainey pointed out, he didn't really have it under control when he was president, blaming the liberals for him not putting up the wall. The fact that your opposition is not going to work with you is a real thing to consider. So in the belief that Trump is going to magically get the border under control, I don't buy that because of what my guests have just stated. If he wins the presidency, but he doesn't have full control of the Senate and Congress, he's going to face opposition. Trump ran on putting up the wall. Trump ran on the border being out of control under the Obama administration. When he became president, the wall didn't get built. The opposition is real. Just like right now, many point out that Biden has a border policy that Congress is fighting against. The opposition is real. So I get that Trump is on his stump complaining about the border far more than the liberals. He's not magical. He's not magical. And anyone who believes that Trump never got a chance from day one, you think they're going to give him a chance on day two? You think if Trump gets reelected, everybody's going to get behind his agenda? Before I go back to the box, I would submit to you Trump's campaign promises will be significantly harder in 2024 if he wins than they were in 2016. The reason why I say that is he has more enemies now than he did then. There's a lot of Republican enemies he has now that he did not have back then, simply because he's referred to all of the Republican members as swamp creatures. So it's not going to be roses and love for Trump if he gets reelected. I just want to point that out. Going back to the box. What makes anyone think, oh, I saw that in the comments real quick. And I do appreciate you folks tapping the screen. Get your boy up to 6-0. Appreciate that if you could do that. Blue states wanting to allow non-citizens to vote in elections. That should be unconstitutional. But I don't doubt that blue states want to let immigrants vote, even if they're not here legally. I don't doubt that because they know they're going to vote Democrat. It's wrong, but I don't doubt it. No different than Republicans supporting all sorts of policies that prevent legal voters from voting, such as the long lines and saying we can't give you a bottle of water, otherwise it'll be a crime. Those long lines you see predominantly in liberal cities in Republican states are there for a reason. There's a reason why you're waiting 6-7 hours in Houston to vote or in Cleveland to vote. It only happens in liberal cities that are residing in Republican states. Those long lines are there for a reason. So understand both sides are willing to do whatever they can to upset the game in their favor. Just want to point that out. Going back to the box. DJ Fly Guy. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Let's see if it brings him up. DJ, you there?
What's up, man?
Hey.
Yeah, man, I'm here. What's up, man?
All right. Is the man unstoppable?
No, he's not unstoppable. He will be if he get back in power, though.
Explain. What do you mean he'll be unstoppable if he gets back in power?
I mean, I guess you see that, he's trying to shake up the government, trying to shake up what kind of power the president has.
But don't they all do that to some degree?
That's right. Well, not to the degree that Donald Trump and Republicans are trying to do everything, man. I don't think it's fair that for so long Republicans have been taking advantage of their base, their constituents, everybody that supports them.
So let me in the comments, Stevie D asked a good question. Give an example of how Trump is trying to do this. You're talking about trying to be a dictator or something of that nature. Give an example.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you got professional people put in place, and all of a sudden you come in and you want to fire everybody, and I know both sides does it. I know both sides does it. But you know, just like with Dr. Fauci, that man had been in place all them years. Obama had these plans put in place, you know, to stop the pandemic and all that stuff, and that man just come in and do away with it. And from what I hear, I think it's like Project 25 or 47 or some crap like that he's supposed to be doing. Like all that stuff.
You're talking about Project 2025?
Yeah, whatever that stuff is. That stuff is too extreme, because we don't have such a terrible government that we need to go to those extremes.
Well, that depends on who you ask, because we got folks on the right that believe abortion is being allowed in the late months, or biological males can compete with women. I mean, they believe that the left is extreme too.
I know it, and that's what I'm saying, man. That's why I'm saying I don't think it's fair that the people that actually do care about people's rights, because I know you got some Democrats that, you know, that they just in that seat, they ain't really doing nothing either, you know. And I know you got people on the left, on the right, that's just sitting in the seat and they ain't doing nothing. Okay. I mean, I know you got it on both sides. Yeah. But Republicans, as we see, have taken more advantage of their base than the other side have. And
but wait a minute, is that Republicans actually taking advantage of their base, or is that Republicans actually saying things that resonate with their base? Because there's not a lot of love for Biden from his base. I mean, maybe Trump just actually speaks to what his base want to hear, and Biden does not.
Well, that might be the case, but you know, at the end of the day, we all see that, you know, Donald Trump is not good for poor people.
How do you say that? What, I mean, folks like his economy. What leads you to believe Trump is not good for poor people?
Well, in the 4 years, he did nothing for us.
The economy was good.
Nothing for poor people.
The economy was good under Trump.
Okay, so how many years did he actually do something that affected the economy?
Well, many would suggest that he inherited a good economy.
Name a policy that he put in place. Name a policy that he put in place that actually helped our economy.
Well, it's not necessarily his policy. I agree with you that. But when you look at the job numbers that he inherited from Obama, he didn't fuck it up. That's where he's getting credit from. It's not the policies. It's the fact that he maintained it.
He did mess it up as soon as he got a chance to mess it up, because Obama's taxes was put in place for a good little while. And I think it wasn't until, 2018 that he was able to change the tax code, like 2 years later. And once he changed it, what happened?
Well,
the child tax credit got taken away from us. Like all the stuff we had going for us that was helping us out, like he just took that away from us, man. And the only thing that I think that was good about having Donald Trump as president was that the businesses, like the corporations, all of them, they responded to him. The stocks went sky high, 401k went sky high. You know,
but doesn't that benefit all of us? If your 401k goes up, a lot of Americans have a 401k. Does that not benefit working Americans?
Yeah, it does, but not everyone has a 401k.
Okay. But nothing you know what I mean? Yeah, but nothing you do is going to benefit everybody. And PPF, appreciate that. Nothing you do is going to benefit everybody, though.
But listen, this is the one thing I say. If you got the guts and you got the balls to get your butt up every day and go and try and make something happen for you, then there should be things set in place that'll protect you along the way and help you along the way. You can't have stuff in your way as you trying to dig yourself out of a hole.
Is Biden doing
And
that?
I just don't see. Sir?
Is Biden, if you want to go to work, as you say, put in an honest day's work, you should have things in place to, to help secure your future. Do you see that happening under Biden?
Yeah, because I see more people out here working now than I've seen in a long time. There's all kind of construction going on. There's all kind of road services going on. Schools, it's more schools being rebuilt again. It's a wrong time to mess it up. It's a wrong time to go back to that guy and just to see what he's going to do with another 4 years. Go ahead and stick with what we got. This thing has got to pan itself out. This thing has got to pan itself out. People are starting to make more money than they ever made before, right? So why not let's just go ahead, ride this thing out for a while, let the corporations and let everybody get used to paying their employees more, and everybody get used to paying a little bit more at the grocery store and just a little bit more at the gas station, and let people start saving.
A lot of people ain't got the money, DJ. You're talking about, can you imagine a president or a politician saying people just need to get used to paying a little bit more at the grocery station, a little bit? You realize that's a failed message for a politician to say what you just said?
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Gas cannot stay at $1.89 forever. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's going a nickel and a dime here is not gonna hurt anybody. But like I said, man, the playing field has got to get a little bit more open.
What about the military? What about the military conflicts that are breaking out all over the world? Didn't happen under Trump.
You know what, man? There's some things I understand about the government, and there's some things I don't. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I do, because from where I'm sitting, it just seems like America getting a lot of the shit that it caused. You know what I mean? That's from where I'm sitting. I don't know. I can't speak on Benghazi. I can't speak on none of that crap because I really didn't.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. I don't have any inside access either. I just know under Biden, we do have a lot more military conflicts breaking out than we did under Trump. I don't know why either, just like you, but just comparing it to, that's going to come up from a lot of people.
Well, it's that right wing politics. When you got right wing politics, you have wars. People go out and it just seems like they do things they ain't got no business doing. And they start wars, they start taking, just like them people ain't coming across that border for no reason. If you go in somebody else's country and you mess up their economics and mess up their government, where else they got to go? Hey, listen, you was the one messed it up for me, so you're going to straighten this shit out for me. So, what else they going to do?
You definitely win on that. DJ, I got to move it on, but I agree with that. I do agree with that. Appreciate you coming in.
All right, I appreciate you, brother. You have a great one, man.
Absolutely. And what I was saying is, a lot of the failed economies south of the border, America does have a lot to do with that. A lot of those countries down there that are suffering big time, it is because of American interference, particularly with Venezuela. We were no fan of the late Prime Minister of Venezuela, Hugo Chavez. I think he passed away in 2010 or something like that. We destabilized that government and broke it up. They don't really have a government in place because of us. Once they started siding with the Russians, we essentially ruined their country. No different than Cuba. Once Cuba started siding with the Russians, look what we did to their country. There's a lot of dirt poor nations around the world that their biggest problem was not siding with the United States. We do have a lot of power on the global scale to ruin countries. We have done that. So I agree with my last caller. Like, if you're going to tear up our country, then shit, take some of the people. I don't disagree with that. That does resonate. Looking in the comments, and Big 357 says, let Russia save them then. So in other words, if you side with Russia, and the U.S. destroys your country, Russia should come and fix it, and there's no accountability to the U.S.? Is that what you're saying? The U.S. shouldn't be held accountable for it? If they could walk to Russia, that's where they would be going. The fact is, you can get to the United States a lot easier as a Venezuelan than you can get to Russia. And let's just be honest, America's a little bit more humane at the border, plus or minus a few Governor Abbotts, than Russia is. You're not going to sneak into Russia and get asylum. So Russia is going to be a lot less humane than the Americas is. So big difference. Going back to the box. Larry, I don't know what that says, but we'll bring it in. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Larry, good afternoon.
How you doing, man?
Doing good. Is Trump unstoppable?
On the Republican side.
Everybody's saying that. So Biden's going to beat him. You think Biden is going to beat him?
Well, I'll tell you what, my vote, I hope to help him.
Why do you favor Biden over Trump? Why do you favor Biden over Trump?
Because, okay, well, let's go through a couple of things you and the last caller just went through. Where you stated about all the wars going around. Okay, the United States of Biden didn't start none of that.
Okay.
None of it. Did we? Right? So we're gonna check the war off, right?
But wait a minute. You're right. Biden may have not started it, but potentially could have used the negotiating powers of the United States. Whereas folks are going to point out Trump reaching out to Kim Jong-un, reaching out to Vladimir Putin. Maybe he didn't start it, but he could have potentially stopped it.
Okay, well, even going on with Israel right now, okay, he's doing their best. Okay, but he can't just go tell Israel what to do like that. He can't, and it's he's doing all he can. His administration is doing, his cabinet doing all they can.
You believe that?
To try to stop.
You believe? Here's an example. Under Biden, America did not vote for a ceasefire for Israel. All of the other nations, if we had voted that Israel should have a ceasefire, America could end that whole event at this point. At this point, regardless of what Hamas did, and there's no denying Hamas committed an awful act on October 7th, it's all Israel now. Hamas is not really fighting Israel. It's just Israel pounding the shit out of Hamas.
Exactly.
Biden could stop that. He could, if Biden got really strong, started threatening Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel, he could stop that.
I don't. To me, I just seem like he's doing all he can right now. That's just my opinion. That everything I hear they're doing all they can.
All Biden has to do, because I hear what you're saying, but in the comments, people are also, if Biden simply said, if Israel does not stop, we're going to consider what they're doing a war crime, and we will no longer back up Israel militarily, that shit would be over with. Because without the U.S.'s help, Israel will be wiped from the planet. Everybody knows they're pounding the hell out of the Palestinian people at this point. They're no longer acting in self-defense. This is all punitive. Biden, if he stepped in hard, could actually stop that. He could stop that.
Okay, so tell me, and maybe I'm lost in it. So what kind of support do you think that we're giving them to fight Hamas?
What do you mean? Everything they're using, from F-16s to the Patriot missiles to the Iron Dome. That's all our shit. That's all our stuff.
But I understand that. But guess what? All that was already in place because you know Israel is part of NATO, right? Is it?
Yeah. Or not? It is part. Okay. Yeah.
And so that's why they have it, because of NATO. And NATO is this group of people, right? This group of countries that's formed as one. That if you go mess with this one, you got to mess with that one. So what? I don't see.
Because I'm making it clear to you right now at this point, other than the U.S., all of the other NATO member countries are viewing it as, you've kicked their ass. They're on the ground. Stop stomping on their head. The rest of the NATO member countries are not a fan of Israel doing what they're doing at this point. It's over with, and they keep hitting them.
the last thing, I think just the other day they were hearing that they tried to do the ceasefire thing because they wanted to give the hostages back, and he said no. So I don't know what you do. I mean, what you
What I'm saying at this point is there's not a lot of war effort going to come out of Gaza towards Israel. They don't even have basic utilities. You may have a guy or two with a rifle or somebody making a rocket, but there's not enough to be still getting hit 200-300 times a day from the air. They're bombing rubble at this point.
That point there, I agree with you. I mean, but to me, I just can't see. But you said you maybe know a little more about it than me, but I don't see where Biden could do anything with it. I mean, I guess you said go strong on him to get it, to get him to stop. But I don't know.
If America had it voted with the rest of the rest of our allies that they should have a ceasefire, and simply suggested that if you keep going against the ceasefire, we're no longer going to be involved with you militarily, like we did with Iran back in the late 70s or whatever. We used to supply Iran with weapons. Once we stopped, they're a weaker country now. Everybody gets their shit from us or Russia. That is the two biggest countries. France makes a few things, but if we stop supplying you with weapons or we stop maintaining them, your military becomes weaker. That's all the United States had to say. If you don't stop, we're no longer going to maintain any of the F-16s that need maintenance and parts all the time. Israel would have backed off because at that point, without American military assistance, it's only a matter of time. They would have backed off.
Okay. Well, like I said, I don't know that much of it like that, but I would say, to me, he's just doing all he can.
All right.
And the other thing, now I know a lot of people, how do you follow somebody that's been indicted 91 times? You got all this.
I don't know how you follow that.
He's been accused of rape. He has been charged with rape. He's at the case right now. So how can you follow these kind of people? I mean, this guy is a cult leader. I mean, the guy is so powerful and stupid at the same time.
Maybe
I ain't gonna even call the man stupid. I'm sorry, because the man got these people, the Republicans. The man, where you ever seen? He got power. Where you ever seen a damn president debate where he don't even have to show up? Not one time, and everybody jumps out.
All right. Well, the man did say he could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue. You're suggesting that he does indeed have that kind of power. Larry, I do got to move it on, though. Has anybody ever told you?
I appreciate you.
All right, appreciate it. Anybody ever told you sound like Shannon Sharp?
No. No, but thank you for that compliment.
All right, appreciate you coming through. All right.
The room.
Talk to you later. All right, looking in the comments, government going after one man for 7 years. That one man is not innocent. Listen, there's no shortage of people who believe that folks have been constantly after Trump from day one. Maybe so. But what I don't get is, how do you think somebody could do what Trump promised to do without having that happen? You think anybody could go to Washington promising to get rid of everybody in Washington, referring to everybody as swamp creatures? I'm the good guy. Everybody else here is bad. And not have any problems? You think people are going to work? If you went to an office, let's say you join the police department, you promised the commander, make me sergeant. I'll help drain all of the swamp for all of these bad cops on the force. Just hire me, I'll name names and point them out. We're going to expose corruption. You announce that publicly, so all the other cops hear you saying that. The commander hires you. You think you're going to get cooperation from all those other cops promising to get rid of all of them and saying that they're all swamp creatures? You think they won't be going after you from day one? You might get involved in a shooting call for backup and nobody shows up. The idea that everybody was after Trump from day one doesn't fall in line with the message he stated when he became president. He came on came into power saying that everybody is corrupt in Washington. Remember, our founding fathers set up a system where there are checks and balances, meaning if you become president, you got to work with the Senate, you got to work with Congress to get your agenda passed. You promised to get rid of every senator and congressperson you could because they're all swamp creatures, but you need them to work with you on your agenda. Why does it surprise anybody that people were after him from day one? I don't understand that. Even if he was 100% innocent of everything, which I don't believe, but wouldn't you expect him to have an incredible amount of resistance, calling out everybody? Why is that such a surprise? I don't get it. What did you expect him to go to Washington, promising to drain everybody and have a peaceful time? Was that the expectation? If he gets reelected, he's still making the same promise. But now he's also promising to do it against a lot of Republicans. Do you expect, if he gets reelected, to have an easy time in Washington? That doesn't make any sense. Even if Trump is the greatest president in history, he's going to have a hell of a lot of resistance because of him promising term limits. I'm going to reduce the benefits and perks for Congress. Everybody's a swamp creature. I mean, what the hell you expect to happen? And then you're calling people names and launching personal attacks on top of that. After him from day one. And people come across as if they're baffled. Doesn't make any sense. Look in the comments, Big Nasty says he didn't do any of that. Just came on the scene saying, I'm going to make this country great and be nice to everybody. And they just started treating him like shit, huh? Going back to the box, I believe what happened is, or what is going on is, if you support Trump, you see Trump being victimized by a lot of folks. But anybody he is mistreating, you don't see it, or it's justified. They deserve to be called a bird brain or whatever, but Trump does not deserve the name. That's what I believe is happening, is that I see when Trump is being victimized, but I am in favor of when he's doing it to other people because they deserve it. They actually deserve it. They earned it. And that's why it works that way, where Trump looks like he's the victim because he can say anything he wants about somebody else. They deserved it. All right, going back to the box. We'll keep the program moving with, I don't know, no breaks has been holding on. I do appreciate you holding on. No breaks. Is Trump unstoppable from a political standpoint? No breaks. Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Hey.
No, I think he's unstoppable for the Republicans. You know what I mean? But when it comes back to the overall run between Biden and Trump, I think Biden's got a pretty good chance, to really take him. I mean, he's going to have Biden's going to have a thorn in his shoe, as they say. But I think Biden's going to walk all over him because, look, he got the abortion.
You think Biden's going to walk all over Trump, really?
Yeah, he's going to pull that splinter and walk on him, man.
Wow.
You got the abortion folks, that's going to come out. Look at Ohio over here. They came out in Ohio to put it on their state thing, and the Republicans jumped on that, and then they said that they wanted to cancel that.
Let me interrupt and ask you that. If abortion is going to be such a big issue, you're pointing out Ohio, we know how it went in Kansas. If abortion is going to be such a big issue, why are there so many Republican women? If abortion was that big, you would assume that Republicans would be comprised of all males. There's a lot of women that support MAGA.
I think there's a lot of women that's going to turn on the abortion. That's number one. You're not going to get all of them. Don't get me wrong. Every woman in this country ain't going to vote for Biden just because of the abortion issue. But you got other issues. You know what I mean? You got him talking. He's a dictator. How many people on the Republican side say I'm not going to vote for him because he's a dictator? He's wanting to be a dictator.
You believe that?
So if you take the odds and you take the calculation of the odds, Biden's getting more odds on his favor
You know, if you got 100 Republicans and you lose 50 of them, you can't win by 50.
Fair enough. Wait, hang on one second. Christy on YouTube asked a good question. He asked me, Handsome, what did you see that was racist or un-American at the rally? I didn't see anything, and I attended a Trump rally. I didn't see anything that was racist for that Trump rally. So hopefully that answers your question. So at the end of the day, you think Biden will mop the floor with Trump? I think you use the phrase something like that. So you think Biden has this in the bag?
I think Biden, if he plays his cards right, you know, and he doesn't do something stupid, you know what I mean, to say something stupid or do something stupid, I think he's got a good chance to mop the floor with him. Because look how many people voted for him. I don't care if you say, well, it was stolen. Hang on, give me a break. That's bullshit.
What about the border? What about the border?
The border is an issue, and I think he needs to address it a little bit better. But he needs to start blaming, you know, if you're going to play tit for tat, he needs to start coming out about, how about the Republicans letting that little girl and boy, or that family drown in the Rio Grande.
Yeah.
You know, he needs to start coming out with stuff like that. You know, you talk about Israel and Palestine fighting, right? Well, I'd kick that back to nothing was happening until we got involved started supporting Ukraine really heavy. Russia started losing because we were supporting them, right? Mm. Okay, who's best friends with Putin? What the hell's that? Iran, I think that's the one. Iran and number, you know, in colludes together. They're best buddies. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I get your point that Trump was certainly friends with Putin and then he obviously met with Kim Jong-un. Some people favor that. But I want to ask you, this is in the comments section, and considering you're talking about Biden is likely to win, I'm going to give you this and let you tackle it. You can respond any way you want. And by the way, folks, tap the screen. Get your boy up to 85,000. 700 plus of you in here. Let your thumbs not be lazy. You know we don't block, ban, or censor anyone, so I ask that you tap the screen. Show your boy some love. It helps out the algorithm. No breaks. Kale for Trump in the comments asked this question. How can anyone vote for old Biden? Now, you see the take on words, but how can anyone vote for old Biden at this point? He's causing an Islamic invasion. How do you respond to that?
I don't see it that way. You know, come on. You know, what? So you're going to say Islam is an invasion into the United States? Now you're saying that's happening. Okay, you're saying that, right? Well, what? Trump wants to deport every Muslim in the country.
Yeah, you said that.
You know, tit for tat there, ain't it? You know what
I mean? So in regards to your comment of Trump wanting to deport every Muslim in the country or whatever, this goes in kind of coincides with what the YouTuber asked me about seeing anything racist at the Trump rally. Do you see Trump as intolerant at all?
I see Trump as a racist.
Why?
I mean, just straight out, because of his attitude, of what he talks about, how he talks about other countries, how he talks about, you know, the poor. You know, he's going to round us all up that's sleeping on the street and put us in a concentration camp.
What makes you think that?
Because of what he said. He's going to buy some cheap property. He's going to set up some tents, and he's going to go down to these major cities, and he's going to collect all the winos, if you want to call them that, and bums, and dope addicts, and poor people sleeping under bridges, and he's going to stick them over there, and if they don't go, he's going to arrest them.
Damn. And I see in the comments, speaking in regards to what you're saying, Cool T in the comments is saying he doesn't talk to the poor. Do you see Trump as having a problem with poor people?
I think Trump has a problem with poor people. Yes, I do. You know, he's rich. He came from a rich family. He's never been poor. He's never walked in the street. He's never slept on the street corner.
Oh, shit, neither have I. I've never slept on the street.
But you've grown up you've seen the streets.
Yeah.
You've seen the streets, and I know somebody's going to say he's from New York, blah, blah, bullshit. That man will step over you for 50 cents.
Damn. So, if you think that Trump will step over a person for 50 cents, why do you think there's so many Americans that think Trump has their back, that he is a better commander-in-chief for this country than Biden?
Because I'll tell you the reason. Because Trump is the biggest showman that ever fucking walked on this planet. He's better than what the circus guy's name was, you know. The
Ringling Brothers.
Right, yeah, the old circus. You know, one hand and steals the chickens in the back and with the other. You know, that's what he is. He's all talk. He's bullshit talk.
But Briggs, we had 4 years of Trump. Was America really doing that bad? I mean, we did have him in office for 4 years.
We had 4 years of Trump, right? Okay, we had 4 years of Trump, which I would say probably 3 years of it was Obama's. You know, and the last year of it was dumbasses' suggestions. And look what he did to their taxes. Our taxes. The rich taxes never get taxed again. Middle class and poor people's taxes are raising up every year. Because of who? Who? Donald Trump's tax thing. He wanted, every 2 weeks he was going to come out with a great health care. Never did see that come up. The only one that saved healthcare was McCain when he came out and stopped it.
Yeah.
If he was through that,
McCain came out and gave a thumbs down. So at the end of the day, it sounds like you believe Trump was a bad president.
Trump will go down in history as the worst president that ever was in the United States of America.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to read this to you. It sounds like it's very similar to what you're saying on YouTube. Let's be real here. Trump's rallies are just a comedy club, and Trump is the comic. It's like a script written out acting session at his rallies, the same talk and same BS.
He ain't going to change. You know, all he's going to do is run his flipper. You know, and he's running it, and he's conning the same con that he did, and you know, when he ran against Hillary. It's the same con. And you know, I got a couple things to say though. You know, I don't think really Biden's gonna have to really worry about too much, because the way I'm catching it, man, I don't think he's gonna be on the ballot. And it ain't Biden's fault, it ain't the Democrats' fault. It's his fault for starting to, you know, do that damn.
You don't believe Trump's going to be on the ballot?
I think they're going to be able to throw him off because of the
14th.
14th Amendment.
Wow.
Plus his immunity. If he claims, just like his dumbass lawyers, man, he's got the stupidest lawyers I've ever seen. You know what I mean, or I've heard of. You know, they come in and say he's not the president, so you can't. He's not the president, so you can't charge him. Right?
Yeah, I gotta agree with you that his lawyers are basically throwing everything they can up against the box. I mean, complete immunity to me is scary. So I don't disagree.
So he's got complete, but how did he get? Because he's a president, right? He's a president, and that's how he's getting the total immunity, because I'm president. But yet, he says in the what's his lawyers come up and say, "Oh, you can't get him because he's not the president." You know, under the 14th, he wasn't the president.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. It's one or the other. So they got him in a catch-22 there.
But it is a 6-3 Supreme Court with 33% of those justices appointed by Trump. You think they're going to leave him hanging?
I do. Because I'm going to tell you why. I think they're smart enough to know that if he becomes president, that their cushy jobs ain't protected.
Wow. Why would you?
Hey, he's president. What can he do? He can eliminate, especially if they give him immunity. He can turn around and eliminate the Supreme Court, throw him out, execute him. What the hell? You know, you can get rid of Congress. What the hell? You can. I don't think that there ain't him and his little minions up there would do that. They will do it. Hey, people didn't think Adolf would do what he did. You know, in the 1930s.
Whoa. I got to move it on, but last question. You don't see any comparisons to Trump to Adolf, do you?
Oh, yeah, I see a lot of that in his speeches and you know, and especially in that 14 rounding up people. What did they do in Germany? You know, don't get me wrong, the Jews thing. Let's separate the Jew thing. You know, the Jewish people. Let's separate them out of that. So that never happened. How about the gypsies that Hitler round up? You know, how about the black people that Hitler? You remember Jesse Owens? I think it was.
Yeah.
He ran. He said black man could never be an athlete, and he won the.
I remember. I've read up on all of it. I do got to move it on, but yeah, our Olympic athlete went over there and proved to Germany black people are really good. I do appreciate you coming on. No breaks. You certainly didn't have any today. Come on back through anytime, though.
Man, I appreciate it.
Absolute. Absolutely. Go Lions in the comments. Eric Ray. I won a little bit of money. Went on DraftKings, put a little bit of money on the Lions. Shout out. Also won a little bit of money against my NFL rival, the Green Bay Packers. I am a Bears fan, so anybody but the Packers. Looking in the comments, we are doomed if we keep up this division, says Jack Harlow. Shout out to Jack Harlow, one of my, like his music, by the way, Jack Harlow. In regards to we're doomed if we keep up this division. If it turns out into a Biden-Trump rematch, do you expect the division to go away? Obviously, even Biden is now talking about ultra MAGA and saying pretty divisive things about Trump supporters. So we know Trump has been saying nicknames since he came on the scene, and his supporters openly favor the name calling. So you're absolutely going to get division from Trump, but Biden is partaking in it now as well. So I don't know how you get rid of that with either one of them. Real quick in the comments, Haley is the Democrats' Republican. I think that would have been Chris Christie. I don't think the Democrats favor Nikki Haley. And by the way, look, at the end of the day, Nikki Haley is going to be endorsing Trump. Let's not pretend. Nikki Haley is going to. Chris Christie is never going to endorse Trump. Nikki Haley will. Nikki Haley was wide open to a cabinet position on Trump's administration. That's not going to happen now. Trump embarrassed the hell out of her by simply saying at his own rally the other day, I tend to watch most of his rallies, he said something like, she's disqualified for a VP position because I've been around calling her a bird brain. He's like, I can't tell you guys she's a bird brain and then come up here and say she's my running mate. So he's already told his audience she has no chance of becoming VP. Even though you gotta look at Nikki Haley and think she likely tried to be cautious in discussing Trump because she was hoping to get a cabinet position. She has major egg on her face. That looked ridiculous. In fact, other than Chris Christie, and I know my beloved MAGA has no love for Chris Christie, that's understandable. Tap the screen, get your boy up to 90,000. You know what I'm going to ask. Let your thumbs not be lazy. Get your boy. We may be to make six figures on the likes if you guys don't slow down with that shit. But it looks ridiculous that all of these Republican contenders in the beginning, from the North Dakota governor down to Vivek, Tim Scott, Chris Christie, excluding Chris Christie, but Ron DeSantis also. They're on stage. They had 4 debates. They're on stage having debates. Mike Pence was in that crowd as well. On stage having debates. All of them are losing by double-digit numbers to Trump. He's not at the debate, and they're all arguing with each other like they actually have a chance at fucking winning. Trying to not talk about the elephant in the room makes them look like simps, as we used to say in the hood, or cowards, or whatever synonym you want to fill in the blank. I mean, you can't win by ignoring the guy that's way out in front. For folks who don't like Chris Christie, there's reasons to do so, but you got to get a guy credit. At least he attacked the guy that you would have to take down. What purpose does it make for Ron DeSantis to go after Nikki Haley and vice versa when neither one of them are likely to win based on the current numbers? That looks ridiculous. Meanwhile, they're being as cautious as they can about Trump, and he's holding rallies all over the country, insulting the hell out of them. Bird Brain, Ron DeSanctimonious, talking about Chris Christie's weight, Mike Pence, you name it. Insulting all of them. And they're trying to be quiet on him. Made no sense at all. Like, why not just endorse Trump from day one? I mean, just go straight for the cabinet position. Now, there are a lot of hardworking Americans, conservatives, many of them making small dollar donations to people who had no chance of winning and knew it. Anybody who donated money to Tim Scott, you damn near deserve a refund. That was a bullshit campaign. You deserve a refund if you donated money to Nikki. Nikki Haley's in it, but Vivek Ramaswamy, not even making an effort to win. If you donated money to Vivek Ramaswamy, you deserve a refund. You deserve a refund. He never even made a concerted effort to try to win. Just want to point that out. Looking in the comments, if you donate to any campaign, Papa, I disagree. You can lose a fight that you tried to win. There is no way I'm going to look at Tim Scott and believe that he was trying to win. Even his own supporters at his town halls was like, why the hell are you not going after Trump? They were asking him that. So even they are like, what is your purpose? Why not just step out? And Chris Christie called it out perfectly. If you're going to get on stage and talk about how great Trump was, why not just support him? He's still in the race. He is still in the damn race. Why not just support Trump? That made no sense at all. I just want to say that. Looking in the box. Do appreciate you folks that are actually holding on. Wow. Carol Genovic, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Is Biden, or better yet, is Trump, is he completely unstoppable at this point? Many would suggest he is. Is Trump politically unstoppable? Carol, I don't know if it's going to let her come up to the box. The DNC won't even allow others to run against Biden, talk about ending democracy. Cool T, there's some truth to that. But that also happened in 2020 as well. There were 4 different individuals that wanted to primary Trump, and they got tossed out as well. You didn't hear much about them. I do agree with what you're saying, though. If a person wants to run, they should be allowed to run. But they are making it so that Biden is going to be the guy. They have their eyes focused on Biden, not giving anybody else a chance. They did that when Trump was the incumbent as well. It did happen under Trump too. Chicago needs Washington. I don't quite get that. Trump is on a revenge mission. Says Unreasonable 6'8". How many of you folks believe that Trump is going to take revenge against his opponents? And who might those opponents be? I'm assuming it's a laundry list of folks. Do appreciate you guys getting your boy up over 100,000. We'll go back to the box. My last caller did not come through. Sunflower. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. No, I'm having trouble with the box though. Why was Hussein's college record sealed and his birth certificate proven fake by experts? Kale for Trump. Let me just say this. I watched, and I don't know what happened with my box. I was going to bring a guest up, but in regards to Obama's birth certificate being proven fake, that's false. Sheriff Joe Arpaio had a program, and I watched it online. I watch all that shit. Mike Lindell's Cyber Symposium, 3 days I watched 2,000 Mules, all of these programs that are going to allegedly prove a conspiracy. I watch a lot of that shit. And what Sheriff Joe Arpaio did in effort to prove Obama's birth certificate was fake was found another woman in Hawaii that was born at the same time and showed Obama's birth certificate next to hers and suggested that shows Obama's is different, so it's fake. Prove to me that the woman gave you a valid birth certificate. Never did that. Never. You just assume this woman is accurate, so her birth certificate compared to Obama's is fake. You didn't show any proof that what she gave you is an accurate document. This stuff is hilarious. It wouldn't go nowhere. By the way, Trump is on video saying Obama was born in America. After all of that bullshit, he did come out and say Obama was born in America. So go with that. Looking in the comments, I don't know what that name says Obama admitted on video. He also admitted if you want your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Since when do folks on the right trust Obama? Out of everything he said, you don't trust a damn thing but him saying he was born somewhere else. Okay, selective reasoning there. Is that what is still on Obama's birth certificate? You know, I talked about earlier in the program that Rumble, the conservative social media site, somebody reached out to me and asked me to start posting live on the page. And it wasn't some random, because I do look up when randoms on TikTok promise to promote my material. No, this person is a actual director over at Rumble, and They're fairly high up, lots of supporters and things like that. I looked them up. Anyhow, I looked up, because I'm bringing this up in regards to Obama's birth certificate. I looked up Nikki Haley. I joined a bunch of conservative pages over there and read some of the comments on Nikki Haley. My God, Rumble don't censor shit. For the most part, people are pissed off that she's from India. Several comments, I'm talking dozens of comments, point out that she is born in India. Folks say that she needs to go back to her own country. She's not qualified to run for president. That is all over Rumble. For you folks who use Rumble, click on any article about Nikki Haley, and I guarantee it's in the comments. The fact that she is not American, well, she is American born, but the fact that her heritage doesn't trace back to the right location apparently is a big problem. I heard everything from her husband as a cook on down. I mean, I can't even state all the comments that I read, and I actually screenshotted a few for a social media video I'm going to do later, but I can't even repeat them all here. They would take the channel down. It was bad. It was real bad. So reading those comments, it's pretty clear there's no love for Nikki Haley among the Republican Party. I mean, them comments were really bad, really bad. And I see in the comments, Tony Sir said, why doesn't she use her real name? I can tell you for a fact, her name was used over and over again in the comments on Rumble. Her real name, for the most part, was probably said more than Nikki Haley. It's all over Rumble. I mean, they don't like her at all. So I can't imagine her having any chance beating Trump. The Republican Party, particularly the Republicans that are far to the right, no love for her at all. In fact, you got Tim Scott, Vivek Ramaswamy, Ron DeSantis, they're all endorsing Trump. How many, other than Sununu, how many folks of prominence in the Republican Party has endorsed Nikki Haley? At this point, I see it as just throwing money away. She has no chance of beating Trump. But when you see those comments on Rumble, it's not that they don't just see her as not having the right vision for America. I don't think some of them want her in America. Nevertheless, I do appreciate you folks tuning in. You know this is indeed a lunch break live. I appreciate you tapping the screen. Monday through Friday, we are here every day. If you enjoy civilized dialogue, both sides of the aisle, without any concern of the host blocking or banning you, follow the program. See you tomorrow. YouTube, numbers are a little bit better. I do appreciate you folks tuning in. I tried to get to a couple comments, but do appreciate you folks. And Trump hasn't won a popular vote ever. If it was meant for the electoral vote, he'd never been a president. That's true. Most Republicans would not win if it wasn't for the electoral college. But that is there to make it more fair, because all of the people are basically situated in big cities. If you didn't have the electoral college, states like Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, they would never have representation because they don't have a population big enough. So you got to have it for that purpose. Catch you guys